What's up, Motoheads? Today in the shop we have this YZ450. We're going to show you how to do a preventative check that could save you hundreds in medical bills. Alright, so the customer that brought this in, they said that they were riding along in the dunes and the back end here started feeling a little bit squirrely on them. You know, it was kind of fishtailing and dancing back and forth. And they rode their buddy's dirt bike and it was not doing it quite nearly as much. You know, a very similar setup that he had on his. Kind of thought nothing of it. He loaded up his bike, and actually as he was loading up, he noticed something pretty severe happening with his rear wheel. Let me show you. All right, so here we are down with the rear wheel. And what he did was he actually kind of lifted by the rim, but he noticed that it had a little bit of a shake to it. And if you listen closely, this whole wheel, if you rock it back and forth, see how much that chain is moving over there? That's actually a sign that the wheel bearings are really going out. They've got dirt, sand, corrosion, something in there that has eventually worn them down so much that the wheel is pivoting on the axle and it's wiggling back and forth in the bearings. So we're gonna show you on my bike what it should sound like because we just replaced the wheel bearings on that. All right, so this is our shop bike that we just did a build series on. Like I said, we just replaced the wheel bearings on it. And if I wiggle this wheel back and forth, there is absolutely no play in the chain that you can see there. There's no play, there's no rocking, there's no noise. That's how it should sound. And so we're gonna take the wheel off of that YZ, and we'll show you guys what the bearings look like right now. All right, so this is the first. When I was attempting to remove this wheel bearing here, the integrity of the bearing itself completely failed. And you can see all the little bearings, little ball bearings down there. And all that's left was the outer race. And so now we've got to use our larger puller, put that in there, and then take out our race. But that just goes to show just how brittle and how beat up these rear bearings were if they just came apart like that. All right, so we got those out. We've got the two over here from the sprocket side, one over here from the brake side, and they're all pretty bad. Let's see if I can show you here. If we just hold on to this bearing, you can see it rocking back and forth there. All that translates to your wheel. I mean, he probably had a good half an inch of play from the outside of his tire. And you can definitely feel that when you're going down the dunes. Obviously this one you already saw, it catastrophically failed just trying to pull it out. This is what a new bearing should be like. Zero movement at all. So we'll go ahead and we'll get those installed, get those back in the bike, and then we'll show you what it felt like and looked like before and after. All right, so now we got our bearings in there. That's what they should look like. Not like that. This side here has a circlip on it. We went ahead and cleaned out the spacer that's in here. It's a good idea to coat that with some anti-seize. It was already starting to show some signs of potentially rusting or corroding. So some of you might have noticed the sprocket is definitely done. We've already contacted the customer. We're gonna talk it over with them, see what brand and what style they want to go through. He said that he had just bought this a few months ago, so he's really been riding on it hard. All right, so adding back in those brand new wheel bearings, the chain now is much tighter. So we took out all that slack, and that translates to all this being just quite a bit tighter. So we're gonna go ahead and adjust those here for him. All right, so right there we put too much slack in the chain. So we're actually going to just barely loosen this, just enough for the axle to slide back. as we move these 10mm adjuster nuts. That will give you a lot better gauge as to where you're at without having to retighten the axle every time, making sure they're pushed up against the blocks, all that. Now just a double triple check that they're tight up against those adjuster blocks. Get that nice and tightened up. Now let's check to see if there's any play. No, she is absolutely solid. All right, so bottom line with wheel bearings is they're super easy to check. All you've got to do is just put your bike on a stand and just give it a shake. Those 30 seconds of just checking could save you a pretty catastrophic failure. And with that, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for everybody who have subscribed, liked, commented. We now have a membership program where if you want to become part of the Moto family or a Moto head, that link will be in the description below. Ride safe and live Moto.